All right, we are live. Hello, Ed, and
Hey,
welcome.
hey, here we go. Couple weeks in the making, but we got it done.
Yes, yes. It was kind of a touch and go situation a little earlier because my StreamYard hadn't renewed until about 2 hours before the stream, and I was getting a bit nervous.
That's all right. We do well under pressure.
Yes. Right here we have Glenn has joined us. Hello, Glenn.
I'm in
Hi,
the living
Glenn.
room. I'm in the living room, so I've just come off stream, and well, I can show you what I'm doing. I'm chilling out and having a nice cup of tea.
There you go.
There
That's
you go.
nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a look who we have in chat and say hello to everybody. Then we'll get underway. Starting up at the top, we'll work our way down. We have Henry is in from Florida. Hello, Henry. We have Rob, my good mate in the UK. We have Johannes, also known as the Offish. He's a great guy in Sweden. We have Mike Myers. He's in Belgium. I don't need to name all the countries, but I have them memorized. But then let's see here. Moving on down. We have a couple others that came in. We have Vinoksky. Hello, Vinoksky. Welcome in. And Fishy on Tanktix. Welcome in, my friend. Good to see you. Oh, there he is. Greg from Louisiana. Hello, Greg. How are you doing, mate? My friend.
Hi, Greg.
And who is this person? Oh, that's my wife. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
Hello. How you doing, sweetie? Let's see here. I'm just sat. Oh, on the loo. Oh. Okay. All right. We made it through the chat already. So we still are expecting Charlotte to join us, but she can join us at any time because she's the admin. So I won't need to admit her to the stage because she can just pop in anytime she wants.
I'm wondering, Jeff, I can just, when I've joined your stream, it's asked me to join in Chrome. And
Oh, really? I think because of when I use my laptop, I use Chrome to get in.
And it's giving me an option for chat. And but I don't know if I go and link my YouTube channel to the chat, I get to see chat, or if it kicks me off here. So if I disappear, I'll be back. I'm going to try it.
Sure, absolutely.
That's what I've been worried about with the stream. So I live about 35 miles south of Pittsburgh. So sometimes my internet gets a little sketchy. So that's the one thing I was a little concerned with. So if something bumps off on my end, I hope everyone can forgive me.
Oh, no problem. It happens. Technical issues happen all the time. I have them.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll manage, and it'll be fantastic. I know
Sure,
it's going to be.
Yeah,
So,
I was telling Jeff a few minutes ago, folks. So I've been breeding fish for about 40 years, and I've had my facility, this particular facility, for 3 years, and this is the very first time I've done a live YouTube tour. So because Jeff is such a nice guy and he does so much for the community, I thought it was the least I can do. But I'm not going to lie. I just hope it goes off without a hitch because I want to make sure you folks can see what we have to offer.
You'll be fine. What happens, happens.
So, all right,
Yeah.
I'm going to introduce you to my business partner. He's going to be the one holding the camera. So I'm going to flip it around. This is my friend Larry. Hold on, you're not on yet. Now you're on. This is Larry.
Hi, everybody.
well, hello again, Larry.
Hi, Larry.
All right, so I'm just going to turn the camera over to him.
All righty. And what I will do is I'm going to put you on the big screen here. There we go. And you can start at your leisure and just take your time. No rush with anything, okay?
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the perimeter. Can everyone hear me okay?
I can hear you, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
fine, yeah.
All right, so some of you may be aware of what these guys are. These are Amica splendens. These are the butterfly goodiad. This was the very first goodiad I got 6 years ago, and it came from my buddy Greg Sage. And he was here in our fish room last year, and he can't believe the difference in the variants since I've had them. So one of the things Greg had told me when I first started working with goodiads, he said, after you have them a few generations, you'll start seeing little differences once they accustom to your water. So when I first got these guys, don't get me wrong, they were very beautiful. But I think I'm in like the 7th or 8th generation, possibly 9th generation. I'd have to check my records. But the spangling is just phenomenal on I don't know if you can see any of the silver spangling on the males. Is
I
it
love
picking
it.
up?
It's actually muted a little bit. We have shut off our air lines so that we could hear better. And I think the fish are reacting to not having their normal
Yeah,
aeration.
the circulation. So
You know, when you had it on earlier, it didn't bother me a bit. So if the fish are more happy with it on, go ahead and turn it on because I can hear you fine with it
well,
on.
I was having trouble hearing you. That was why.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So yeah. So I was having trouble hearing you. There, that you might be able to see spangling.
I was showing them the Maltese. We
Yeah,
have one Maltese left.
Yeah, Jeff,
tank.
you'll appreciate this. There's one multifasciatus in there. So this tank we're showing you is a 33 long, and what 4 or 5 months ago, Larry?
Yeah.
There was about 300 multifasciatus in there. So, and we just basically moved out majority of our cichlids and are doing goodeids now. So that's predominantly what we're doing now. So we'll go down to the next one.
All right.
So the next tank is a 60 breeder. And of course, they're going to hide some, but they may come out. These guys are Antonidia's tower eye. They're the blue tail goodeiid. I don't know if any of
Heard of those?
yeah. So these guys are very prolific for me. So the interesting thing about goodeids is a lot of people think goodeids are just like guppies. For most goodeids only drop up to about 10 or 12 fry, and some of them that we have here in our fish room only drop 2. So they'll have 2 drops in a season. So like our cracodons will drop up to 10. So that means a pair of cracodons will only drop 20 fish a year. So one of the things we're doing this year is focusing more on certain species that do well for us and building those numbers, because last year I had to turn away so many people because I just didn't have the numbers. So if you'd have seen the fish room 6 months ago, it would have been a little different. There was more cichlids and stuff. But as I'm growing the numbers to provide for next season, it's going to be a little different. So.
Very nice. I love the 60-gallon breeder size tank. It's perfect.
Yeah.
I prefer that over 65.
So one of the things you may notice, we do plants, but our plants are just for breeding purposes. For a lot of the tanks we have the babies in, we do colony breeding, and the babies hide in the plants, and then we pull them out. But also just to give the fish some security. So basically, the tanks, when you see them, these are set up for breeding. They're not like a showpiece kind of aquarium. So
I understand. That's exactly the way my tanks are as well.
yeah, these guys, Jesus Maria. Now, majority of our fish that we have in the fish room, we have all their location data and all of that with them, and that's pretty important when you're working with critically endangered fish. I believe I'd have to check my notes, but I believe this line, their area has been extirpated, which means that their area has been completely destroyed in the wild.
Oh, it's a beautiful fish too.
Yeah, the gold spangling on these can be really something when they aren't hiding.
Okay, let me get out of the way a little bit, and then maybe
I don't think they're going to come out. There's no air. I think it's the aeration that.
There we go. There they go.
Oh, we can see a couple there. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the males look like they're wrapped in gold lame. I mean, it's really nice.
Just a couple angelfish we've got up here. Not much going on presently, but
I've only been trying to breed angelfish for over a year for the BAP program with the Greater Pittsburgh Aquarium Society. And our water in here in the fish room, the best way to explain the water in our fish room, it's like liquid calcium. Very high TDS, high pH. It's perfect for live bearers, and that's why we do so well with the stuff we do. I have RO, all of that, and I'm just not finding the right mix for the angel. So hopefully that will change. Right here on this side, we have 10 gallons. These are for fry rearing. Nothing that spectacular. As you can see, some of the tanks have a little bit of green water. Doesn't hurt them. It actually gives them a little bit more security, and I find they do better with that. Those fry right there are a bit fry of Jesus Maria.
Those gold spangled ones that were hiding. Tiny little
Yeah.
babies
Oh,
in there.
yes. Oh, uh-oh. Whoops. Here we go. He popped out and he popped back. There we are. You popped out. There we are. We're back.
Okay. All right. So like I said, these are just fry rearing tanks. Next one over here. I showed you got this lady, Jeff, a little while ago. This is our Bolana Sox female. She's
yes.
about 5 inches long. There's an interesting story with her.
It's a live bear, guys.
I was supposed to get a pair of them and was sent a female. That was it. She came to us in April, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to be able to breed them because the size she is. Some of you may know this. Bolana Sox can hold sperm. That's what she did. So about 5 weeks ago, we got a surprise. She dropped 5 young ones, and I'll show those to you in a little while. We'll show them in a little while.
Okay.
I also wanted to show you this, Jeff. These are the only killie I'm working with right now. These are Pachypanchax saccharamii. That's a Madagascar killie.
Well, I was keeping up with it.
And
Oh, wow.
Paul Loisel, who I work with the CARES program, collected these in the 90s. If you notice the way I have this tank set up, I have found with killies, you know, sometimes they hide a lot. And what I started doing is suspending mops from the top. So, let me lift up. So what we do, we have these supports, and then we tie the mops. And what that does then, it suspends and gives dimension in the tank, and they stay out a lot more. And these guys should be spawning for us soon. When I got them, they were pretty young.
They are beautiful.
And right there are our longfin albino Aeneas. Everyone likes them. They threw their first few eggs last week, but they were infertile. So hopefully they'll get the gist of it soon.
Yes. They're looking good. Now, is that guppy grass? I'm looking at a lot of your plant. Is that the guppy grass mostly that we're seeing?
There's guppy grass. So here's what it is. Our water here is so hard that some plants just do not flourish. So the things that flourish best for is guppy grass.
Yeah, guppy grass there, but this is actually an octopus plant. And they look kind of similar, especially streaming.
That's
Hogostomum stellatus?
Same way
okay.
up here. Some of this is actually octopus, and then most of it is grass. And then
jungle val and Italian val seem to do very well for us. And we put them in pots, and the substrate we use in the pots is just pea gravel and some crushed coral or aragonite. And what I do that, even though our pH is high, and that doing that with the aragonite or crushed coral keeps the water level stable, and there's not that much of a fluctuation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this next one's a pretty cool fish. This is Alfaro catratus. They're known as the live-bearing knife fish. They come from the Dominican Republic. These were gifted to me from a friend who's big in the ALA. And when I first got them, when they were little, I'm like, I wasn't impressed with them. They were just a little silver fish. But as they matured, they get like a honey brown with these piercing sapphire blue eyes. They're really pretty as they get older. And they are a critically endangered live bear that actually will give birth up to like with a guppy would. So I've had some give me 30 or 40 babies. So that's one critically endangered that really produces.
Very nice.
These guys right here, I just had a gentleman, and I made it a point to try to remember his name, and I forget it. But there's a gentleman that's big in the Corydoras and catfish. He helps with taxonomy. My friend, who's the president of the Greater Pittsburgh Aquarium Society, reached out to him. These were told to be Napowensis, And some of the people in the club weren't exactly sure if they were. We just got confirmation. They are Napowensis. From what I've been told by the gentleman and by a few other people, there aren't too many people that have the true Napowensis, and these were confirmed as natural.
Isn't it the black on the male?
So
skin
yeah,
that's
so
part of that?
part of it that determines it is the bronzing on their head, and the males on the dorsal wall, that deep black
I love
spot.
them. Beautiful.
Now here's what's interesting. Up until 2 weeks ago, that black backdrop was not on there. The minute we put that black backdrop on, it's like the gold just shot out in them.
Oh, wow.
They're just on pool filter sand, and I've only been working with sand for a few months. I really don't do a lot with quarries, but I wanted to give it a try to see how I could do with them, and sometimes I like to challenge myself with something new. So
they are beautiful quarries. I tell you, I love the dorsal fin with the black. It's so
yeah, and you know what's interesting with these quarries is like they stay right out with you. They'll come right up, almost take food out of my hand. I've never seen quarries that are just so calm, not shy.
Don't think we're going to see the Venezuelan.
So the next one's the orange Venezuelans. Let me do this. They're probably hiding. There they are.
Venezuelans. Oh yeah, I
Those
see
are
it.
orange Venezuelans.
Oh yes.
So what I do with my catfish, they were going through a dry season. I give them a dry season for a while and then do a RO water change. And I did it today because I wanted you folks to see. You can see there's still a little bit of green to it. I let them go through a dry period for anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. And then I'll take the water down by 3/4 and do an all straight RO, which would be like rainwater. And within hours, I have eggs.
That is. I'm going to learn a lot from you, Ed. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be probably asking you a lot of questions.
That's what. Hey, you know what? I'll tell you what. I'm the type of person we can all learn from each other. I've been doing this for 40 years, but I learn something new every day. One of the things I think with our hobby is, I think some people that are new to the hobby sometimes get shy about asking people that have been doing this for years. I'm the type of person, I love my hobby. And I sit back and remember when I was a kid how many people had fish, and our hobby's dying because a lot of people are not getting the information they need. So I enjoy it. I geek. I like being a fish geek and a fish nerd and geeking out with people. So anyone who ever wants to reach out to me, if I don't get back to you immediately, I get back to you within 24 hours and help you out. Now the fish he's showing you right now. So these particular fish, these are Scyphia francese. Go back over. So if you go this tag right here, these fish, he'll show you a fish in a minute. These fish actually came directly from the lab in Mawakana, Morella, and we got it from the ALA convention. What's interesting about these fish, okay, you can show the fish now. These are Scyphia francese. And for some of you who may know, Scyphia francese was collected in 1976 by Dr. Miller. They went back 2 years later, they were completely extinct in the wild. So a few years ago, they decided they wanted to try to reintroduce the fish back into the wild. So they went to the lab and they built them from the labs, and those fish come directly from the labs. This is another colony we have of the Scyphia francese. So I've been working on this line for about 3.5 years. So.
Wow, they are beautiful.
Yeah. And this particular bloodline, so this bloodline can be traced back to 1976.
Oops, we seem to have a little bit of a hiccup there. We'll just wait for a second. It'll probably pop back around.
And that's what brought them back. So, and then Dr. Lyons, who I also work with the CARES program, distributed some of these fish to the lab in Morelia, and from those bloodlines they grew and released back into real Tichland, and today they're thriving back in their homeland in the waters.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So that's one of the things about with conservation fish is people are like, oh, they never get reintroduced. So these fish and the fish we're going to show you in a minute, Zoogeneticus tequila, they have been reintroduced back into the wild. These two species of fish were completely extinct in the wild and reintroduced back in because of aquarists. So when people say, oh, that doesn't do anything for conservation, these two species can be used as a marker for that. So this next species we're going to show you, these are Zugoneticus tequila. These were the first to be introduced back in the wild. They were completely extinct in the wild. And they're thriving now. And they're also from real Titchler.
Oh, I love the dorsal fin on that, man. Look at that. Wow.
So what's interesting with these fish, when they go into breeding dress, the males are almost midnight black. And in the one tank next to it, you'll see the males are really dark. There's some big females there. So when they go into breeding dress, the males are almost pitch black, and their caudal fin has that vibrant orange.
There's a couple younger ones in the back. You can see the bright orange, and oh, there's a whole black fish hiding in front of that.
So what's interesting?
Oh,
I've been colony breeding these fish for about 3.5 years. So what I do, so I have to pull some of the males out. So when I colony breed, I try to do 2 males to every 6 females. So what's happening, I'm always pulling babies because there's always a female that's dropping.
Talk about babies.
And what I do, so that vow, they'll stay in that vow. And if you see, the adults don't chase after them. We've been pretty fortunate. There's only a couple species we actually have to pull. The tequilas, we can leave them right in and pull them out. And I don't know if it's just because we feed them so well or there's enough places for them to hide. But there's only a couple species we pull out of the females out to drop privately. And I'll show you some of those in a little while. We're going right here. So this is the big tank. So this is Iliodon furcidens.
oh
So
yeah,
this-
the trouts.
So this is the trout goodiad. This is one of the goodiads that is not critically endangered. It's one of the few that isn't. Out of the 40 species of goodiads, there's only 2 or 3 that are not critically endangered. So what's interesting with these fish, it's funny. So last year, Corey at Aquarium Co-op did a special about trout goodiads. He got some from Greg. So I had all these people messaging me about, do you have trout goodiads? And at the time, I just didn't have the numbers. So I worked to build my numbers. Now this year, you see how many I have. I've sold 1 set. So it's just how it goes. But if anyone's interested in trout goodiad, I have a lot of them. And right there, the one in the middle frame, that's actually a mutation that just showed up. So on Facebook, I post blogs. And every so often in a live bearing fish, you'll get a color variant like that just comes up and occurs. That one came up through this line, and it's a little gold dye. And I'm going to hold on to him just to see what he looks like as he gets older.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Greg Sage said, you need to hold on to that and line breed that.
Yes.
That's what Greg did with his trout. So he's.
Oops, I think we had another little bump. Oh, we lost. Glenn, did we lose you?
His line has a lot of yellow in the body, but he said you need to work with that. And I'm probably going to. I'll put that one aside and a couple of the related ones from that bloodline over on the other side, and to work with them for the next few years to see what I can come up with. Now here's the question: if you get to see any of them, are there any?
There's one right.
Okay, so these are my bulldog goodiads. This is Allophorus robustus. I had to think for a minute. So these are bulldog goodiads. These are one of the biggest goodiads. They get about 5 to 6. I've had some people tell me they've seen them get up to 7 inches long.
Wow.
Yeah.
The largest goodiad.
Yeah, they're the largest. We've got a female pulled to the side right now. She's ready to drop at any time. This is one species where I do pull the females because they highly predate. I have a friend that breeds them. He said you will literally see the female give birth, turn around, and eat the young.
That's why we have them in a 75. Maybe the babies can find some place to hide. and they're
Yeah,
big enough to contain such large fish.
right.
So this
Ooh.
is my separate line. This is the Great Sage line at Iliodon furcidens. As you can see, the difference in coloration. They're a
Oh,
little
look at
lighter, and the male.
Whoops. Uh-oh. Beautiful yellow stomachs on them. Can you hear me, Ed? Let me see. Oh, he muted himself. Ed, I just want you to know that you muted your microphone. If you can hear me, you can just click on that. You see like a little cross going through your microphone. Just click on it and you'll unmute yourself. I don't think I can control that myself. Let me see if I can. Nope, I can't undo it myself. If you can hear me okay, you accidentally muted your microphone. I'm not sure if they can hear me even. Let's see here. Yeah, yes, you can. Ed, your mic is muted. We can't hear you at the moment. If you see on your picture on the screen, you go to settings, you can unmute it. You can hear me, but you can't hear them. Yeah, he's muted. You're muted, Ed.
There you go.
Oh, there
Sorry,
you go.
can
You
you
got
hear
it.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes.
Sorry, of course, when we're filming, a phone call comes in and it mutes. I'm sorry.
Oh, you know what? That's happened to me on several occasions. Yeah, I understand. No problem at all, sir.
Okay, that's all right. So I don't know if you heard about these. These are the line from Great Sage that we have. It's a little different. That's another line of Iliodon furcidens.
Yeah.
So we're going to go down. This is one of the few cichlids we have here at the fish room. These are Cytocara morai. They're the blue Malawi dolphin. Those guys are about, what, 8 inches?
Yeah, they are. We're looking at a 75-gallon tank here.
They definitely need to go into a larger tank.
Female that's holding.
Oh, yeah.
So we literally had probably 100 of them, and it took us so long to find homes for them. I enjoy the fish as pets, but I'm not working with them to breed now. If any of the babies survive, we leave it, but it's not something I'm really working with here. So this is my main tank of my Antiniobius toweri. Now this line, we actually have the collection information for them. So they're from Antahidius, San Marcos, Mexico. And what's interesting with this line is the males really have a darker blue tail in this bloodline. There's that one in the back you'll be able to see.
And they're shy.
A lot of Goodeids are. Well, they're not used to having a camera in their face either.
Yeah. When you feed them, they do come out.
Okay, Jeff, I'm going to show you your favorite Goodeid, and of course I'm joking.
Okay. All right.
You recognize this one?
Let's see. Oh, yeah, the Xenotocododra.
There you go.
So I've been working with this bloodline for about 3 years. And what's interesting is how the males have intensified in color. So
Oh, yeah, those are beautiful.
what happens is when you keep these fish over a period of time and they really adjust to your water and you're giving them the right foods and stuff, their colors really intensify over time. And I just think we've been pretty fortunate with our water here because it's literally just perfect for them.
Can I stop you for just 1 second, Ed? We have some questions from the group.
Yes.
Sure.
Branton Lightcap asked, what's your contact info?
So you can find me on Facebook under Ed's Aquatic Exotics. I also have a website, which is Ed's Aquatic Exotics.
Yes.
And all the males are hiding in back.
And Aquarium Fantasy is asking, how many aquariums do you have?
How many? We
Yeah.
fluctuate. In this particular room, there's about 85. Is she giving birth?
Oh, wow.
Running for a male. That's what she's doing. We have about 80 to 85 tanks in this room. And then on the other side, we have 20 to 25. We fluctuate. So anywhere between 100 to 110.
Oh, wow. I keep busy with 30 myself.
Now, you'll have to look really close. This is one of the last cichlids we have. These are the blue-lip buffaloes.
Oh, yeah.
So in December, one of the guys from Wet Spot was here. He was talking for our fish club, and he wanted to see our fish room. And I got these from the Wet Spot, and he told it was Cameron, and he said, Ed, hold on to these. He said, because we have a hard time getting these. Is if you can get those to breed and put them out in the hobby, that would be great. They're just getting to the point where they're showing signs of interest.
Are they mouth brooders, or do they lay eggs in a nest breeding?
Can I tell you something? I'm not going to lie to you. I think they do a scatter like with a ram. I would have to 100% check on that. I've just been conditioning them and waiting for what I need to do to get them to set up. But I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know if they're a mouth brooder. They may be a mouth brooder. I'd have to double check. But they've still got a little time to go before they can actually really start doing anything. The males are establishing territories, but I think it's going to be a while yet because they're still pretty young. But I still need to check them. That is a good question because they may be a mouth brooder. But if anyone knows, I'd appreciate. I don't know if they're a mouth brooder. I thought they were a scatterer and do like what the rams do, but I couldn't.
You'd think that I would know. I study cichlids all the time. I mean, since the early 80s.
Yeah.
And I should know that, but I don't. I should know that, but I haven't. Apparently, I haven't retained it.
I've been doing.
Uh-oh.
I'm not going to tell you if I don't know. That's why I said if anyone knows, I welcome your opinion on it because I learn something new every day. So.
Yes, me too. And every day is absolutely. I think I do learn. There's not been a day go by that I haven't learned something more.
Yeah, and we can learn something from everyone in this hobby. So this particular fish right here, back in 2016, this fish was considered Xenotoca eiseni, just like the doadroi. This is Xenotoca lion's eye. So this is the fish that was named after Dr. John Lyons with the cares.
Ah, I love those. They look like a Xenotoca doadroi on steroids a little bit.
Yeah.
So now here's what. Okay, so this is one of the things. So I just wrote an article about this for a pet magazine. So it's an honest mistake. So an untrained eye would look like they're the same fish. And the interesting thing is their common name, all three species are called the red-tailed goodyead. So eiseni, lion's eye, and doadroi all considered that. So what's happening, like I chair on the CARES committee with registering critically endangered fish. In the last year, we've had numerous people try to register these fish that turned out to be hybrids because they were mixed with other species within that classification. So that's why it's so important to keep the information, because if you were to register these fish with the CARES program in the database, you're required to have the location information because that's really one of the few ways that they can confirm the fish.
They're quite feisty. The jousting for position there. Look at them.
Yes,
Wow.
they are.
So that what happens is the males will start doing that. What's happening right now, there's females. Now this particular tank has quite a few males. I need to take some of these males out. I try to keep tanks with only a few males to cut down on. It's not that they get really aggressive or they hurt each other, but they get into some really interesting sparring.
Oh. Right, yeah, they are really. I love, I kind of enjoy watching the little spark. They're not hurting each other, but it's kind of interesting to watch.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. They what it is, they just bump each other. It's like bumper cars.
Yes.
So these are my first drop of Xenotoca melanosoma. When they get older, they get a really nice, deep, rich black to them. And this is the first drop. Of course, adults are hiding behind the rocks.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get them.
They are really shy. They usually only come out when they're going to eat, and they'll come out later in the evening.
But the babies are out. Whoops.
Oh, yeah,
So
look
Jeff,
at,
I hope you're not bored yet. We're only halfway through.
oh, no, are you kidding me? Not at all. You're not going to bore me. I don't get bored. Nope, this is perfect. Take your time. Take your time, please.
So
Yes.
this is one other line of the trout goodiots we have. This was the first drop from this season. They were dropped in March, and they're already going on 2 inches. Could you say that?
Getting closer to 3.
Yeah.
Some of them, yeah.
They grow fairly quick, and they're a cool fish. And here's what I like about them. If you like native fish, and let's face it, we can't keep trout in our aquariums, but they look close to a trout, and they have a lot of the same characteristics of them.
Now, I know a fish like this, you'd want to keep them pretty much in a species-only tank, but say if somebody had a community tank, would they work? I mean,
some of them will. Here's the thing to remember, though. Goodeids are cold water fish. So when they get above 74 and 75 degrees, it's very stressful for them.
Okay. That's what I was thinking as well, yes. I have my Dodor, I think I have them, they're about 75 degrees, I believe, in my tank. I don't have a heater on there, but right now, this time of year, it's really warm here in Michigan, so.
Yeah, and then I've been told the Doadrioi can also take that. But as a general rule of thumb, they are cold water fish. So, but you can mix them. I have friends that do mix them with things. The thing to remember is if you're going to mix goodeids, make sure you're mixing different species that cannot crossbreed.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is my most prolific line in the fish room. This is the one my buddy.
Oh my!
So these came. This is Scyphia multipunctata. This is the Tegansequaro Mawak in Mexico. Now, what's interesting about this line? There's the same species, but from a different location that I'm going to show you.
One moment. I don't want to disturb you there, but we have a question here. This is going to be very nice. Yes, Henry, he does have a YouTube channel. It's Ed's Exotics Aquatics, right? That's
Ed's Aquatic Exotics, but it's okay.
Ed's Aquatic Exotics.
It's all good.
And if somebody could maybe look that up, if you could, Kathy, and then drop the link in the that would be great. So everybody in here can give you a subscription and get you rolling in the right direction. You're doing fantastic. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, you're fine, friend. And can I tell you something? Please let me know if someone has a question, because I don't want anyone to feel like I've been disrespectful to them. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I'm trying to be gentle with it. Yeah, but I'm watching for the question.
No, I appreciate it. So I have 2 locations from this species. So why is it important? So this is the Tegansequaro. Why is it important to keep these locations? The one I'm going to show you next is the same species, but it's in a different location. So this one is from Lago de Camasaquaro. Now, what's interesting about this location? A few years ago, it was completely destroyed.
Ooh.
So if we wanted to reintroduce this fish back eventually, you would want to make sure it was from the location it came from. So that's why it's so important when you're working with critically endangered fish to keep that information.
Yes, it is.
And if you can see, like there's no difference. They're the same species, and it's the locations. And when you're reintroducing sometimes, what I have found with this particular line, the males get a lot darker. Yeah. So what I'm wondering is, was there something in that environment that constituted for them to be darker to hide out from predators. I'm not 100% sure. But that location became isolated, and then they developed the more dominant black markings over time through evolution. So, like for me, people can say, "Boy, you really get into the locations a lot." It's very important when you're working with critically endangered fish to keep this.
You can see the difference between the blackness in there and the blackness in the ones up here.
Oh yeah, I love the contrasting of them. Beautiful contrast of those fish. You seem to have a bit of a.
There we go.
There we go. All right. I love the contrasting. I was just mentioning about those.
Yeah. But you know what's interesting, Jeff, is like I said, so I'm all about what more people need to work with critically endangered fish, because we're the last stronghold for keeping these fish alive in some situations. But the thing is, when I say this, when you're working with critically endangered fish, it's a whole different type of hobby than it is with working with basic commercial fish, because a lot of these fish were only not even imported. They were brought in by scientists and researchers maybe once or twice, and that's all that was ever here. So it's important to maintain all that information and keep the bloodline pure. So I'm going to show you one of the few Mosh Posh tanks we have.
Okay.
So, I breed a lot of. I was breeding a lot of barbs and tetras this year for our BAP program. So what I've did, they just after they've spawned successfully for me, they go in there. I also am growing up a set of Greg Sage's Odessa barbs. If you haven't seen his Odessa barbs, please go onto his YouTube channel and look up his Odessa barbs. They're still about 5 months old. When they get to be 8 months old, the males are deep scarlet red and deep black markings.
Oh yes.
They're really nice. They're still young. And then there's my little girl. That's my red spot Severum.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
We do have another question here. It's about your energy costs for running a fish room of that size.
Go ahead, Larry. Answer it.
Our electric bill has been up to $460 in a month, but I got a new system and it's down to like $330 during the worst time of the
That's
year.
good.
So,
and I have well water. We don't have to worry about water bill.
Well, put
Oh
it
yeah,
this
I
way.
have a water bill.
I sat down and calculated just to operate what we have here. It's anywhere from $800 to $1,000 a month.
Okay.
So these guys, take a guess how old those silver dollars are, Jeff.
Ooh, they're pretty good size. Probably 5 years, 4 years.
Larry,
add 2 decades to
they're
that.
24
Oh,
years
are
old.
you kidding me? That old?
24 years old. They're
24 years old. Oh my goodness. I never would have. I didn't even know they had a longevity of that. That's incredible.
They're 20. No, the interesting thing about it, these were a friend of mine, and she was moving, and she said, "You're the only one I can trust with them." So of course I'm not going to, but like they'll be here for the rest of their life. But they're just great. And there's also a Tenopoma in there. He comes up and takes food right out of our hand.
He's acting like he's part of the driftwood right now.
Oh yes.
And then there's a couple little cichlids in there that are just so.
Firemouth. I recognize that. I have a whole tank full of them.
I was going to do some more of the. I need to do more of the New World cichlids for BAP, and then it just got to the point with what's going on with the glidioids. We need the space to grow out the glidioids.
Yes.
So like I said, I kind of phased out a lot of the cichlids.
Yeah, I have a few that I'm going to keep because I like the dwarf cichlids, like the apistogrammas and some of the Tanganyikan shell dwellers. They're real small. They're really nice to.
I wish I could work with apistogramma. So Andy Tonka was here with us. When was he here, Larry? September last year?
I'm not sure. So.
Andy Tonka was in town, and he wanted to take pictures of the live bearers because he said in Germany, where he is, there's not a lot of people that have some of the fish that I have here. So he wanted to come. And he told me, you need to start doing a pistogramma. And I said, Andy, our water here won't do it. Now, here's something I know Jeff wanted to see. These are the long fin white clouds.
Ooh, look at them. Oh, they're gorgeous.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting, these fish are about 8 months. When they're younger, they just look like a regular white cloud. They don't start getting their long finnage till they're about 6 months. And the same water parameters as normal white clouds, and same breeding, feeding, and everything like that. And if you see that tiny little red guy in the top, that's a Phoenix rasbora. I have six of them in there. They hide a lot. I tried spawning them numerous times. Nothing happened. I finally said, you're just pets.
There's a couple underneath there. I don't think they're going to show. But yeah, the one up top's definitely sticking out. Sorry, the long fins aren't doing any displays. They were a little bit earlier, and man, they are put on a show when they spread their fins.
Oh, yes. And they're fairly easy to breed, I've heard.
They are. So I'll tell you what, we weren't going to show the one part, but I'll show you a technique. I'll show you. It's not going to be spectacular. At the end of the tour, we'll take you over real quick over to the Neo room. So in the Neo room is where I breed barbs, tetras, and things like that. So
we do have a very enthusiastic barb fan out here. It's Stubbs Aquatics. He has a very nice collection himself, and he's what you call a barb fanatic, an addict.
So we're really good friends with Eric Bodrock and Regina Spotty. If any of you folks know them, they only live about 20 minutes from us. So when I was struggling to do egg scatterers, she came over. She spent about 2 hours with me, told me what to do. And I'll show you. Now, when I show you that room next door, I'm going to give you folks a warning. It's not spectacular. It's a breeding room. It does its purpose. But I'll show you guys how I spawn tetras and barbs, and people can't believe how I'm doing it. I struggled for years, and I'm like, it's so stupid what I do, but it works. So,
okay.
We're going to start now. So one of the species of fish we work with are cracodons. And a lot of people want our cracodons, and of course, they're all hiding.
They are all hiding.
Here we go. Right here is Los Pinos.
Yes. That's our premier fish presently.
So I looked for this fish for about 6 years, and thanks to the ALA, they hooked me up with a breeder, and I was able to get some. But we're starting.
That's a cracodon right there.
Yeah, that is Cracodon audax, and the location is from Los Pinos. Now we also have another type of cracodon, the one he's showing you right now with the black fins. That's El Tabasso. So that's a totally different location.
The common name, is that the Black Prince?
That is the Black Prince, yeah.
Oh, yes. I've heard a lot of that from my friend Curtis from Skull Aquatics. He's like me. He's actually I'm learning from him, but he keeps a lot of these endangered fish, and he was telling me about the Black Prince and showing me some pictures of them.
I'll show you some of my adult males that are now retired. Over on the other side, I'll show you when we go. So the next one we have is Resolene. They're not much for color or anything, but what's interesting about this fish, these fish get to be a decent size. So if you wanted to mix these fish in a community tank, these fish would be really good with some of the cooler water cichlids, small cichlids. They'll do well. It's funny. All our cracodons are. Oh, here we go. There's a lateralis right there. And now this is Cracodon lateralis. I don't know if you can see. Maybe.
I think we need to go to the other side, actually. There's two behind.
So what's interesting, so what we're showing you right now is an island, so you can see it from both sides. So if we can't, you know what they are, all are on the other side. Let's go over here. I'll let you go so they don't get scared. They're staying under the rocks. They're freaked out because the air isn't on.
I find that my fish get kind of shy of when I go around with my phone as well. They get kind of intimidated by it.
Yeah, I've seen that same reaction. There's a black.
So there's a Black Prince. I don't know. Yeah, there you go. There's a Black Prince right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can't see him well because he's not in the light.
Like I said, folks, I'm sorry. They're kind of freaked out because the air's off.
Black Prince.
There's a Black Prince.
You gonna turn sideways?
I'm not sure. We have a question here. Gaz's Koi Pond asks, do you have any Devil's Hole pupfish? Very rare.
They're very rare. I have a friend that's a marine biologist who has a friend that works with critically endangered. I've looked into it, but for right now, you'd have to get special licensing for it, and you have to go through the federal government for it. That would be something down the line. If it would be possible for me to do, I would. But right now, it's a lot of. I've been told I could possibly do it. I would just have to go through a lot of the paperwork in order to get it done. That's
we discussed doing
that that might be something later on in a few years. So these are adult lateralis. I don't know if you're seeing them. I can't see.
Oh, I can't see one under the rock there.
Yeah, he's the one that's got the boldest color, but not when he's hiding in the shadows.
Let me do this.
Oh yeah, there he is.
He's off on the other side now.
Oh,
there he is.
Yeah.
Here they are.
Oh yes. Oh, beautiful.
So here's what's interesting with the lateralis and the black prince. The lateralis is on the upper top of the waterfall.
I don't know where he went.
And then Black Prince is on the bottom of the same river, but at the bottom.
Oh, there he went. That's a female there.
Yeah.
Oh wow. According to
Brachytons. I'm sorry, Jeff. What?
I'm sorry. I just had a comment here. 3G from Louisiana says pupfish can be collected wild in my area.
But not the Devil's Cove. The Devil's Cove is a critically
From one
endangered
spot.
fish.
Oh, the Devil's Cove. Okay.
And there's only one spot. And back in 2018, there were only 35 reported in the cove, but their numbers have grown in the last 2 years. But in order to collect pupfish in Nevada, that's a federal offense for imprisonment.
Okay.
There are pupfish that you can collect, but not the Devil Cove. The Devil's Cove is federally protected. So if I were to get some, I wouldn't be getting them from the wild. I would have to go through accreditation through the federal government and then be approved for them. And I would get some from someone also approved by the government for them. What we would be doing is working on numbers. If you were to go try to get one in the wild, you'd be in prison.
Oh yeah, you don't want to do that.
Like I said, there are some pupfish you can get in the wild, but the Devil's Cove only comes from that area, Nevada, and they're highly protected. These are Chaplicles paraticus. They're probably one of the most prolific goodeids we have. And what's nice about them, they don't predate their fry. So if you wanted a cool fish to work with the live bear, they're really cool. And they're pretty forgiving with water parameters.
You know, I've noticed that my Xenotoka dodroi, they don't predate on many of their fry. I've noticed. Oops. Yeah. I was just mentioning that I noticed my Xenotoka dodroi don't seem to predate on their fry very much.
No.
Yeah, Xenotoka dodroi really don't predate. They're not known. But the interesting thing is lion's eye. I have seen females give birth, turn around, and eat the babies as quick as she can give birth to them.
We have Green Machine Sweden here. He says that the Amica splendens is his favorite live bearer.
Okay.
So what's interesting about the Amica splendens, this is a good fish for people to start out with if they want to work with critically endangered. And I get updated reports quarterly through the Goodyear Working Group, if any of you have heard of them. So it doesn't cost to be a member, and you can sign up, and you literally get newsletters on research study of these fish in the wild. And right now, the Goodyear Working Group is afraid that in the next year to 2 years, Amica splendens will be completely extinct in the wild.
Oh, my.
One of the waterways that it lives in, Mexico has been under a severe drought for about 15 months. And some of the waterways now are basically just mud.
I see.
Yeah,
So
the water's gone.
Those guys right there are, of course, the tiger limia.
Oh, yes, I have those too. Isla tiger limias?
So here's what's interesting with those. When they were just discovered a few years ago, for the longest time, people thought they were the young of the humpback limia, and then they found that they were two different species. What I've also found is there's some people that have misclassified the nigrofasciatas, the black humpback, and called them the tiger limia. The difference is tiger limias don't have a hump. So that's something to remember with them. They look exactly the same. They come from the same area also, Lake McGrowan. So.
Crafty Koi has a question. He's asking, of all of your rare fish, what is the rarest? Would you say, in your opinion?
Well, okay, so for species-wise, let's talk species-wise. Species-wise, the rarest we have right now would be Zugoneticus tequila and Francese, only because they've just been reintroduced back in the wild. However, if you want a fish that's more difficult to find within the hobby, it would be Los Pinos, these guys right here. It took me 6 years to find them, and not too many people are working with them now. I literally, like, you wouldn't believe. So
they also cost the most.
Yeah. We won't discuss what I paid to get them. And that's the thing about it. So when a lot of these fish, if you want something with a good bloodline and stuff, you're going to have to pay for it. I won't tell you what we paid to do we got 3 sets of black prints, so I won't tell you what we paid for it.
That was Mommy, if everybody remembers, our pipefish. And these are the baby made from herself or from her former mate. There's about 25 of them in there. I hope you can see.
You might have to go over the
clear. Yeah.
Well, here, go over the top. You can see, but now you just scared them.
There's a whole bunch right there.
So yeah, so she had 25 babies. She had held sperm, and after she was here for about 2 months, she felt comfortable enough and impregnated herself and dropped her babies. And a lot of live bearers will do that. However, goodeids are not a live bearer that will do that. A goodeid has to be inseminated each time in order for a successful drop.
I'm going to try getting it from the other side. Whoops, sorry about my finger.
I know we're working our way around, but we have Stubbs Aquatic who's asking, do you breed Aurelius barbs?
I'm sorry, asked what?
He's asking if you breed the Aurelius barbs? Aurelius. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Aurelius or Aurelius? It's Arulius.
Aurelius, no.
Nope.
No, so the barbs and stuff I'm working with, I'm really just doing that for BAP. That's not the main focus of what we do through our website are the goodeids and stuff. A barb that I just recently got that I'm going to work with are the Kubutai. But there hasn't been much more other than that lately. I've been working with barbs. I may consider doing the drape fin in the future.
Here's our tower eye.
And there's a tower eye. So I don't know, is there a male there they can see?
He's not got colors on it, but it is. Yeah, the male just went in the other direction.
So what's interesting, those are tower eye. So when they're young, they look like just a little silver fish. As the males mature,
you can see the blue.
You can see the blue, but that's not really good. He's not fired up.
Yeah.
When they get it fired up, that tail gets a bright electric powder blue.
Oh, nice. You know, when I grow up, I want a fish room like this. Honestly, I love this. Oh. There we go.
All right. You hearing us again?
I can hear you. Yes.
All right.
Okay, so it doesn't look like much, but there's a reason I've done this. So one of the issues I had was this is the tetras and barbs. So right now I'm doing a colony of Von Rio. What I do with them, I put them in the tank. I feed them well for about 5 to 7 days. And then I do a water change, 3/4 with full RO. And I do all of these spawning mops. You see there's a ton of them. I leave the adults in for about 5 days with the mops, and then I take the adults out. I don't clean these mops. I only rinse them. So what's interesting is there's micro organisms in the mops that the fry will eat. So they're eating out of, and then they come out like this out of the moss.
Yes.
I have successfully bred 20 different species of barbs and tetras this way. I've done neons, cardinals, all of that. And the interesting thing is, one of my mentors who showed me, Regina Spotty, she's like, "You're doing what?" And she had to come over. She goes, "It's working," and it just works. So like, I'm the type. I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm lazy. So if there's a way I can spawn something a lot easier, I'll do it.
You can see we've had success using his methods.
Wow.
Do what I did. I tried to help him once, and I pulled out the mocks instead of the parents, and of course the eggs died because I didn't realize they're much more fragile than like a killie or something that I could squeeze, or even we had the rainbow fish eggs. So.
There
You go.
Now here's my show quality adult black prince. These are my retired boys.
Oh, wow.
They both face me directly when I try to film them.
Yeah, they're not shy of the camera. Look at that.
Yeah, they're looking. You're putting the camera too close, so they're going up to it. Just, as soon as you move away.
Do you want the camera?
No. Yeah, but those are retired. Now here's what I like to stress to everyone. Goodeids have a shelf life when it comes to breeding. Goodeids are at their best for breeding between 10 months and a year and a half. So if you're getting Goodeids that are older, at usually about 2 years they're retired. I actually retire my Goodeids at a year and a half. They still can possibly spawn, but they usually don't. So the thing we do here is I take the young, I raise up and get my breeding colonies, and I spawn them myself. What I find, the fish that are, I've literally had fish at 6 months breed. The younger the fish, the better the drop is, but as they get older, they kind of retire out. So
That's the same with the bettas as well. The bettas they have a shelf life. They have to within the first year to a year and a half, and after that, they're pretty much done.
We're sorry, we can't hear my air conditioner.
Sorry about it. I was just mentioning that bettas have a shelf life as well.
Bettas, yes.
yeah.
And
So this is what happens. So you can go to a swap or something, and you see this really big Goodyear. Oh yeah, that's a good price. Well, that Goodyear's probably retired, and if you want it for breeding, it's not going to do anything. So we actually have the older Lateralis I showed you. I'm going to be retiring them, and they're not even a year and a half yet. They start slowing down, and they can live for 4 years, but generally they produce up to about 2 years. So
yeah,
that's basically it.
So I guess after you breed them, then you can just enjoy them in all their glory. I mean, you don't have to worry about.
Yes, we definitely do it to enjoy it.
Oh, definitely.
That's the only domestic live bear I have in the place. They're one of my favorites. So this is the dwarf teacup. They're also called the fireball platy.
Oh, let me take a look. I got to bring my magnifying glass up for these.
Yeah, they're my favorite, and I had to have them. So.
And our Los Pinos, we've had babies from them already. And the tequila, well, they're kind of hiding, but there's probably 25 or 30 baby tequila.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
Thank you.
I'm the same way as you though with the domestics. My black mollies are going to be they're a staple in my fish room. I'm going to keep them forever. That's
how I am with these. I focus on the critically endangered, but these guys, I just there's just something about them I like.
Sometimes you just like what you like, and that's the way it goes.
There you go.
Absolutely.
And then these are the Kubatai that I have in isolation right now.
Oh, the Kubatai. Oh, wow.
So I'll have them. I'll probably be doing something with them in the next few months. Crafty
Coy's asking, what is your most expensive fish that you offer?
Los Pinos.
Most expensive. Let's just say the Audax. Audax is the most
Got it.
expensive.
Okay.
And then I'll probably be getting Cornicpheus radiata. And if I get that one, that will be the most expensive. So, yeah.
Life Lessons Crew is asking, do you the platies? He loves those. Do you sell those as well when they breed, or
He's asking if we sell these as well.
What,
Okay.
the little teacups?
Yeah.
When they're available. They haven't dropped for about a month or two, but we have sold them. Yeah.
Oh.
So what we do on our website, we list what we have, but we have it color coded because for me to do the listings, because I do a narrative and everything, if I had to repost that every time they're available, I'd be going nuts. So when you go on the website, the availability is color coded. So if it's orange, it's not available, but if it's green, it is. And it's just a lot easier for me to change a color code than it is to write an entire narrative again. So if you go on the website, it goes into everything from our water parameters, what we feed, and everything, because I like people to be prepared for what they need to do for these fish. Because like I said, a lot of the critically endangered require a little bit more work than just basic domestics.
Yes. We have Crazy for Seahorses from Austria. Hello, Rainer. Okay. All right.
Well, that's about it, folks.
Well, that is absolutely fantastic. So now, if you want to turn the camera back around, I think if anybody has any questions for Ed or Larry, or even, I mean, I don't know what I can answer for you, but if you want to ask any of us any questions, that would be great. Let's see here. Life Lessons Crew is asking, so what state is it Ed is from and what city?
So I'm in Pennsylvania, and we're about 30 to 35 miles south of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Melvin, that's you're in. I think Melvin's in Pittsburgh as well, or Pennsylvania anyway.
Yeah. So it's about 50 minutes south of Pittsburgh. So we're literally about 20 minutes from the West Virginia border in southwestern PA.
I see. And Crafty Koi, yes, they are a store. There is Ed's Aquatic Exotics. If somebody could drop that link, Kathy, if you're still watching, if you could drop that link, please. It'll take you right to their store, and you can see what they have available. And also their website or their YouTube channel is Ed's Aquatic Exotics as well.
So
and
so we only do online. We've had people, like, oh, do you have a store? We don't have a storefront. We do all online. We had the option to do a store and just voted not to. So we do everything online.
Yeah, me too.
If someone is local in the area, we can make exceptions for them to see. But most of the stuff we have is just all the critically endangered stuff. So.
And we have a question here. Do you post to the UK?
Do I what for the UK?
Do you ship to the United Kingdom?
No, we only ship in the continental US. In order for us to ship over, you would have to have export licenses, which I don't have. Yep,
same here. That's what I can only pretty much in the continental United States is what I do too.
And I'm sorry, I'm walking upstairs, so please forgive me.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah, you're fine. Yeah, you also, as Mr. Fishbert Rob is saying, you'd also need to have a transhipper on that side of the pond as well. So
exactly.
that's a whole.
It's a shame because I've had so many people want me to do that, and you just can't. Have I lost you?
No, we're still here.
Okay, for some reason something happened on my line. There we go.
There we are.
Sorry. Yeah, I've had people in Canada beg me to send them crocodons. I'm like, I can't, because I'm all about sharing, but you have to have special licenses to do certain things. So,
yes. Well, now if that was a huge tour, I'm glad you're able to sit down and relax a little bit. It takes work, doesn't it? It takes a lot of work.
Well, you know
Honestly.
what? It was just the stress. I wanted everyone to enjoy it. And we had a couple little glitches, but it wasn't that bad.
Oh no, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It was a solid 10. I'll tell you, it was a great tour.
Well,
Really?
I appreciate that. You know, the thing about it is it's work.
It is.
Because between me and Larry, and when Larry comes to help, everything is water changes are done by hand. We don't do automatic water change.
I don't either.
And the reason for that, not honking on anyone that does. First off, water changes are cathartic to me. And to me, I want to know what's going on in my tanks. And if my hands are in that water, I'm paying attention. But that's just my opinion.
We have a question. Branton Lightcap's asking, are the Goodyears good at jumping out of the tanks, or are they okay to run topless?
They can jump, but here's something that I learned. I don't put glass lids on my tanks. I use, that, I forget what they call it. It's like plastic canvas that women use for like that needle point and stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So I use that over the top. And the reason I do that is for airflow. Goodyears need to have good airflow. And if there's not good airflow on the water surface, the water tends to heat up. And like I've said, when they get above 74 degrees, you can have some issues with them. So that's what I do. I learned early on with some of my first trout Goodyears. I had a beautiful male jump out, and after I learned my lesson. So not all of them, but most of them have the canvas lids on them, and I find that to be the best way to keep them secure and they can still get some airflow.
I see. Good to know that. I don't have a top on my Zenith. I haven't had any jumpers yet either, so I'm kind of lucky. But there is a nice layer of duckweed, and I got hornwort over the top. So
you know what? People laugh at me. I love duckweed.
Oh.
I don't let it go out of hand. Now, you didn't see that much of it today because I wanted everything to look nice. But I leave duckweed in my tanks. Duckweed filters the water, but what it also does is it's a place for babies to hide. What you'll find with Goodyears, when Goodyears are first born, if you see within the first half hour to hour they're born, you'll think they're dead. They lay on the bottom like they're dead. And then they'll come to the surface and they'll hide in floating plants. So if you have floating plants and stuff like that, they've got a better chance of survival. And I just use it, and then I feed it to some of the other fish too. But I don't have a problem with duckweed. There's some people, it's like the bane of their existence.
my wife's red zebras, I feed a handful of that to them every once in a while, and
it's
love
the best food you can give them. Actually, it's better than any prepared food you can get on the market.
Yeah. So I'm not put off by it either. I mean, for a while, I did some work to make some of the tanks. I mean, in tanks where they'll eat it, I leave it, but it doesn't bother me.
You don't want it to get to a point where it's impeding water flow, But other than that, I've seen people, they get it so thick that I'm like, there's no water flow. You got to get some of it out. But as long as it's not impeding water flow, I don't have a problem with it. So, and like I said,
it's a super.
And the dolphins eat it too. So,
yes, I found my African cichlids, they just devour it. I mean, and it's not like it takes them very long either. I could throw a whole handful of it into the tank, and within about 10 minutes, every single scrap is gone.
Yeah. Well, one of the things for me, a lot of people may not know this if you don't follow me. I write for a couple different pet magazines, and I'm actually a certified pet nutritionist. And I also work with birds. And I tell people, if you can feed anything natural, it's way better than any type of processed food that goes for any animal. And I find in the fish room, by giving natural stuff, they just do a lot better. So I actually worked on my own line of fish food that we work with, that we feed to our omnivores and stuff. It's my own recipe, and it does very well. And what you feed them makes a difference. So the duckweed is probably one of the best plant. If you need something with plant material, that's the best thing, and it's easy to harvest. No one seems to have problems growing it. So. And
we also have a question here. I can hear a pet bird. Wondering what?
Yeah. So Seems like a lifetime ago. For 20 years, I bred parrots.
Oh,
And I bred little parrotlets, and I still have an African gray and an Indian ringneck. And I bred parrots for over 20 years, and I stopped about 7 or 8 years ago.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done a little bit of everything in the pet industry. I love animals. Like I tell people, I like being around animals more than people sometimes.
You absolutely. I think everybody in the entire chat can identify with that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean,
yeah, I've been very fortunate. What's happened to me over the years in the pet industry. I've had a lot of I was a nurse for 20 some years and walked away from it, to just follow my passions. And yeah, I still do some consulting with birds and stuff. Yeah, I'm amazed. Miko is my gray, and I'm amazed he's not yelling right now for the attention. So be prepared at any minute.
oh, no problem. Glenn says he has an Australian ringneck.
Oh, okay.
Oh, here's another question from, a second question. I must have missed your first one, Rainer. I'm sorry. The question is, would you feed vegetables and fruits to marine fish?
I haven't heard much about the fruit. Some of the leafy greens and stuff, definitely. Especially with clowns, tangs. When I was working with tangs, I would do green leaf lettuce, but I was growing it myself. I wasn't buying it in a store. I was growing it myself, so I had complete control over it, and it was completely organic. But that's something you have to watch with when you're buying stuff in a store. If you're going to feed that, definitely do it organic, where there's no pesticides.
Yes. Because he has a clown trigger. It's rare. It's really majestic. It's huge. So he has some salt water. That's a good question, Rainer. Thank you for that.
You know what I used to feed big triggers when I had my store?
What's that?
Buying regular frozen food in a pet store is costly to begin with. And with a big trigger, you have to have a big chunk of food. I go to a grocery store and get frozen shrimp and use them. And that's one of the best food sources for just the regular shrimp, cocktail shrimp we would eat. Thaw them. You can get a pound bag for like $7 or $8. If you were to buy a pound of that in a pet store, it'd be well over $30 or $40. And it's basically the same thing. It's a good protein for them, especially if they're farm raised and stuff. And I fed those to triggers for years. I do that to my Bologna socks, and I also do that for the Tenopoma. So.
He says he feeds salad from his garden to his trigger, his clown trigger.
Okay.
Red Laser's asking, what do you think of a bed of Sawassertang mass for breeding tetras?
Yep.
I think it would work good.
It absolutely wouldn't, especially depending on what tetras you're working with. So I don't know what it is in my area with the clubs and stuff. Rarely do I see Sawassertang, but I want to try it because I've been told it will. But I bet you I can remember maybe one time Sawassertang, but after that I haven't even seen it. I probably should just buy it off someone who has some. I would like to try it.
I have a little bit, but it's not doing well for me. I have a hard water, but I have low KH, and I think it needs a little more KH. I'm not sure actually, but
well, okay. So what's your K right now?
I haven't done it for a while. I haven't tested it for a while. I just know that it's been a while since I've tested it, just to be honest with you.
So the water out of my well here. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It'll fluctuate between 7.6 and 7.8.
Wow.
TDS over 350. And the K goes anywhere from 8 to 10. Which is perfect for live bearers. But what I do crush.
Whoops. Here. Whoops.
Maintain the balance of the tank so it's not fluctuating so much.
Yes. Okay, let's see here. Oh, we have a Branton Lightcap says, I'll trade you some Sawassertang for a trout Goodeids. That'd be an awful lot.
If you're in the continental West, I can do that. Yeah.
Here we go.
No, it is. Yeah, I've had some people. I tell people, please don't think I'm being disrespectful. I wish I could ship to Canada and over to the UK, because I'd be happy, because the UK has some varieties of Goodeids I'd love to have that we don't have here. But it's just, first off, just the stress of getting them over to there and what we'd have to do to get transshipper and all that. By the time it was done, folks would be paying almost triple of what they would cost if you were just getting them in the United States.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Very nice. And I think Branton Lightcap says that sounds like my water, the same water that you have.
You know, and I'm fine with that, because with what we focus on here, that's the perfect water for it. But like angels and anything, forget it. You wouldn't believe what I had to do to spawn neons. So I literally had to do Jiffy peat tabs, the Jiffy peat tabs that you use for plants.
Yeah.
Put those in a box filter and turn the water into black water. It took about 2 weeks for the organic to build up. Put them in, and I did RO water. I did the peat tabs, and then I was able to spawn the neons from there. But any of the black water fish, that's what I do. And I put it in in the filter box, because I don't want to have to be cleaning up all that debris on the bottom. Like I said, I'm a lazy aquarist. So,
well, you got so many tanks. I mean, you're just working smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
That's smart. Yeah, that's what we do. We work smarter, not harder.
I'm all about that. That's it. Like I said, when you have this many tanks, if I didn't have Larry to come over and help out, then I'd be lost, because literally there's every day on average maybe 20 to 30 tanks that have to have water changes every day by hand.
Wow. That is something else. Glenn from GB Shrimp says 5GH, 0KH, 5.5 pH, subwater tank grows like herpes. Okay.
I'll see how it grows here. That I'm willing to try it, but that I'm wondering, because of the water being so hard. I may try it in my Tetra tanks where I'm using RO. That might be the best. But I may try a little bit of it in with the live bears just to see. I like the way it looks, and if it would grow well in the harder water, that would be perfect for the babies to hide in too. We'll see. I'll test it out. It's definitely worth testing.
Yes. 3G says I have 8 to 8.2 pH and 750 plus TDS out of the tap. And he's on a well.
That's what I am. So, which for me, like everyone says 350 is high, but yours is super high. You must have a lot of limestone around your place. But yeah, my TDS will fluctuate between 350. I've seen it go as high as 500. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're looking here, Blackwater and RO. We mentioned earlier, asking about the pistos and those type of fish. You said your water wasn't right for it, but with the RO, you could cut the tap water in half, and it would probably be just about ideal for them. But I mean, they're not everybody's cup of tea though either.
I think I lost you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Sorry, I lost you for a minute.
Oh, no problem. I was just mentioning that if you have RO, so you could always cut your tap water with the majority of RO, and you could probably keep a lot of different types using some botanicals like catappa leaves, or there's also the Blackwater extract. You can get that in high concentrated doses.
Yeah, it's just my opinion with like the chemicals. There's so much fluctuation. If there's something like catappa, and I used catappa leaves and stuff, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of the stuff I try it to breed it like for BAP, but the main focus is the live bearers. But I'll have like a pet project I work with. I like the catappa leaves. I have worked with those. It's just my personal opinion. When you get into the extracts and the bottles and stuff, you get parameters that go all over the place. Whereas when you're using the botanicals, you get a fairly stable water over time. And I'm all about stabilization. But I have catappas and stuff. I'm just not going to lie to you folks. When it comes to like angels and stuff, I just really have to apply myself.
Oh.
And right now, what I've been focusing with building the numbers of the cracodons and stuff, I just haven't had that much time. But
with 3G, he has the liquid rock coming out of his well. Also, he has the 750 TDS and 8.2 out of the tap.
Yeah.
He breeds angels like nobody's business. I'm not sure.
I don't know what you're doing, but let me know, because I'm serious. Like, you don't understand. So right now, the angels that I showed you folks, those are, I believe, blue Philippine. I'd have to check. But I had a friend, they were his. They have spawned successfully for him numerous times. So they're a proven pair. They come here, eggs don't hatch. And I've tried everything, and they're just not hatching.
Now, he also mentioned earlier, what temperature do you keep that tank at?
So that tank, it has a heater. I keep it at 80 to 82 in the Angel.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only a couple tanks in the fish room that are heated. All the goodieads, I heat my fish room to 73, and it keeps my goodieads between 72 and 73, which is the temperature they need. In the winter, when I want them to go into a cool down, I turn the temperature down, and the tanks will sometimes go to like 68, 69 into 70. And the reason I do that, it gives them that seasonal rest period. But the tanks that fish that need heat, they are heated. There's maybe 4 or 5 tanks in the fish room with heat, but it's just a lot easier to heat a room. And most of the fish, majority of the fish that I have are cold water fish. So.
He pulls the eggs and hatches them in distilled water. I think that, or let me see here. We have another. I'm not sure if there hasn't been any. They're asking about putting like something for the medicine for the eggs, but there hasn't been any eggs yet. That's where we're getting at. They haven't spawned yet.
No, I've had. They have spawned for me. They're just not, the eggs aren't hatching.
Okay. Well, maybe
I have done methylene blue. But one of the things with methylene blue, I use it cautiously. I've read a lot of research papers that methylene blue can disrupt the membrane in the eggs and cause some genetic defects. So I'm really cautious about that. I generally I tried catappa leaves. I feel a little bit more comfortable with catappa leaves for preventing fungus, but I have tried methylene blue. It's just the eggs. So I'm seeing them lay the eggs. I'm seeing the male fertilize the eggs. The eggs just aren't hatching. I don't know if it's something with my water that's causing the eggs to harden. I don't know, but they're just not hatching.
3G says I would pull the eggs and hatch them in distilled water.
I'll have to try that.
That'd be worth a try. I mean,
it can't hurt. No, not at all. It's worth. Like I said, if anyone has suggestions for anything, I'm open to it. So, that's how we all learn.
That's what's great about this. This particular live stream, I tend to make it like it's like a support. What froze up? Hello, can you hear me?
Yep. No, I can't.
I was just mentioning that this particular live stream is more like a support system. We have like a group of people that they help everybody. It's really nice.
Well, you know why I was comfortable enough doing this live stream with you? So I've only been following your stream for about a month. And it's amazing how friendly and how inviting everyone has been on this stream. So that's why I was okay doing this. Because like I said, I'm very hard critical on myself. And I was afraid anything that could happen would.
You know what? I knew it was going to be fine. I knew it was going to work out.
Yeah.
Because I noticed when I first started doing my streams about a couple of years ago, I got so nervous that if I kicked myself out of my stream one time and I couldn't get back in, and I almost had a nervous break.
Yeah.
I was so worried about it. And you know what? It's once you get going with it and you see what happens and how to fix it easily, it really clears up.
Yeah. Well, some of you may have noticed with my YouTube channel, I've had it for a while, but I don't have a lot on it. And the reason why is I'm very critical of myself, and I want to make sure I have good content. And I finally figured out a way that I can publish videos that won't embarrass me.
Can I give you a bit of advice there?
Absolutely.
I mean, not that I'm a great YouTuber or anything, but you could honestly get in front of a tank and your fish and your plants and everything that you have and what you do to the tank, talk about it for 5 minutes, and then publish it.
Yeah,
it's going to fly. It'll get traction, and you keep doing that with different fish and different tanks, and you're going to get a reputation. People are going to be like, this gentleman knows what he's talking about. He's doing something with altruism to keep this species alive, and they're going to watch it, and you're going to gain a following. I think pretty much everybody in the chat here, if they haven't already, they should definitely subscribe.
Yeah.
And
well, for what it is for me, it's a new media for me. I've written for quite a few years, and that's kind of the media that I was comfortable with. So, and for me, it's, you know how we're all very critical of ourselves. So I finally figured out a way that I can publish videos that are least passable. Greg Sage has been telling me for the last 5 years, Ed, you need to do YouTube. Ed, you need to do YouTube. So I'm ready to start with it. So I appreciate everyone's support.
oh, absolutely. And you know something else? We'd love to have you back here. And if you ever want to join our panel for another event, you're welcome to come on anytime you like.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Like I said, this is really probably the only stream other than Dan's that I follow. And it's because, you know how it just seems, everyone here just seems so friendly.
Oh, yes.
I noticed that from day one. So to everyone, I just want to say thank you for making me feel welcome. And like I said, this is the very first time I've ever opened the fish room to a live stream. And it wasn't as bad as...
I'm honored, sir. I'm very honored that it was on my stream. Thank you so much.
So thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Anytime, like I say, anytime you want to join us on the panel, just let me know.
Okay,
and
great.
I can drop you the link anytime you like. You just say, hey, Jeff, what's happening Wednesday? I'll say, well, this is happening. I'll drop the link. Simple as that.
Okay, okay. I appreciate
just
that.
Keep that in mind. If you have the time and you want to you don't have anything else to do and you might find it enjoyable, go ahead.
Sure, I will let you do. Yeah, because now that it wasn't a catastrophe, I'll feel a little bit more comfortable.
It went really well. We had a couple little teeny glitches, but you know something that gives character. Actually, gives character to a stream. To be honest.
Okay.
It's because it's live raw footage, and that's what it's about.
Right.
You know, everything's not going to be perfect, and that's just
right.
the way it is.
Well, that's like one of the things, and it's not beating down some of the YouTubers. I think some of them do some great content, but they're doing edited video. So for me, you know, a fish room that is a working, breeding fish room is never perfect. There's always going to be something. So I was like, well, you know what? I have to look at this live stream as a good thing. It's going to show like every tank is not going to be pristine. Everything is not going to be in place and perfect. Because I think what happens, a lot of what I like, people that I like to call newbies, they see these videos, and not that there's anything wrong with them, because like I said, they're giving good content and they're helping people. But I think it puts a lot of pressure on newbies to be perfect. And in the wild, it's not perfect. You know, these areas these fish come from are like mud, dirt, debris, and stuff like that. So it's not always looking pristine. So, you know, you just do the best you can. And what I've always told people, there's always a new way to do something, and always be open to learning from people. So
we're getting a lot of kudos out here, Ed. Everybody's saying thank you to you. Thank you, sir, from Glenn. Everybody else is saying thank you. And then Mr. Fishbert, Rob, is saying it's the best live yet. Well, thank you so much, Rob.
Thank you, buddy. No,
thank you so much.
When Larry came in today, I said, you know, it's amazing how friendly these people are.
And for Kathy, she says, you have so much knowledge to share, Ed. And that, yes, absolutely.
Well, you know, I appreciate that. But, you know, like I said, how do I say? There are a lot of people that work with critically endangered fish that get labeled as elitist. And I try to go out of my way not to do that. I try to be helpful, because I remember when I was a kid and I was making mistakes in how I felt. And like I said, our hobby, in my opinion, is slowly dying. Like I said, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, everyone had an aquarium. And today, a lot of people are like, well, it's too much work. If people, you know, if I can find the time to maintain 100 to 120 aquariums, if people really want to do it, they can find the time. They just need to get the right information, and that's I'm all about helping people. So I'm telling everyone, feel free to reach out to me. I love to geek out with fellow geeks and talk about fish. That's my passion.
This is the right place to be then, because this is why the aquatic addicts all gather.
I know. Yeah, well, I got a kick out of the one night I was up at 1 o'clock in the morning. And I went on, like, Jeff's on, and I got on with you guys. And it was funny because it's like there's some nights I just have trouble sleeping, so it's really really cool because you can have conversations with people, and I just felt very comfortable from day one with this string.
Well, that's good. That's what we strive for, because we're nice. We like having other nice people join us.
Sure.
It makes the whole community that much better.
Absolutely. I agree.
And kudos to Larry too. Absolutely. My wife is saying to Larry, thank you so much for his help. And
I was very fortunate to find someone who can help me with it. And so it helps out a lot. So it's a lot of work, but he'll come over and help with it when I'm not here and stuff, because I work a full-time job. So it's really hard for me sometimes, but like I said, to anyone who wants to reach out, feel free. I hope you don't mind the shameless plug. Like I said, my website is Ed's Aquatic Exotics. You can message me there, or I'm actually on Facebook too if you need to private message me. Ed's Aquatic Exotics there. I tend to be more active on Facebook, but I plan to change that with the website and YouTube. But seriously, I tell people there's no such thing as a stupid question. And I think some of you could see, if I don't know the answer, I don't make up an answer. I try to find it or find someone who can get that answer for someone.
we have, oh, that's not very good. It's, okay, there we go. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
Would somebody please eliminate the eliminator here? I mean, let me see here if I can do it myself. This is terrible. We don't like hate comments. I should have set subscription only. Okay, I got to do it this way too. Sorry about this, Ed. This happens very rarely. We'll get.
Can I tell you, I don't even know what happened. I'm not even following the chat.
Well, it's. Okay, I almost got them all.
It's okay.
Everybody else is seeing these. It's just. What in the. I'm not sure if any of my moderators could help me ban all these terrible comments here. This is so embarrassing. I hate when people come in here and do this.
Hey, you know what? It's all good. Like I said, I don't even know what's going on. So and I'm certainly not going to blame you,
No, it's not. It's okay. Well, we have had a wonderful time with this stream. And so we'll go ahead and end this one right now on a good note, because it was a very fantastic stream from you. Okay. And we will get, next time we're on here, we'll make sure that we have the security a little bit tighter. So
not a problem.
So thank you so much, Ed. It was a very wonderful tour. And I'll talk to you on Messenger at some point, and we'll get together soon on here.
All right, sure. You folks have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Okay, and thank you everybody out there, except for the, I'm not sure if anybody's able to see that. It's a bot.
Oh, okay.
It's a bot that's bothering us.
Okay. Gotta love the internet.
Oh, yeah. All right, my friend. Well, thank you very much again, and thank you for the wonderful tour. You did a fantastic job. You did, for your first tour, for your first time going on a live stream, you did absolutely fantastic.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Larry. You guys have a great evening, and we'll talk to you later.
All right. Take care.
And thanks, everybody else. Thanks for being here. And remember,
thanks, everyone.
Feed yourself, feed your family, and don't forget, feed your addictions. That's our motto here. And feed your fish, too. That's important. Bye-bye, everybody. Love you guys. Bye-bye.